Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortlecast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and with me as always, the Strain King, the Far Cry guy, the man who may cry devil, and the king of thieves, Steven.
Like, can you really call me any of those things when it feels like they haven't happened in such a long time? Like, when was the last time we played Far Cry? And I know I bring that up as a point, but when's the last time I played Devil May Cry, which is coming? I love that game.
I need to get play back into it.
I really do. But there's just a lot happening right now.
Is there a lot happening, Steven? It's not like we're in a global pandemic.
On Division 2, there's a lot happening, which is when I can... that's where all of my free time goes, basically, is playing Division 2 with people.
I understand that. All of my free time goes to Animal Crossing. I literally have an alarm that wakes me up an hour before I go to work so that I can do my daily routine in Animal Crossing.
That's cool. I have 5 alarms that go off at varied times before I go to work that never wake me up and are basically pointless.
There you go. So why do you have them?
So I can at least say I tried.
Steven, how are you holding up this week?
I'm good. You're going to notice that I'm coughing and stuff, but it's either allergies or...
It's either allergies or the Rona.
It's either allergies or head cold or the Rona.
The Rona.
It's not the Rona, because literally what everyone's told me, or I guess what I've read, all that kind of stuff, is that it's like fever, chills, dry cough, shortness of breath are the 4 big ones. And I have none of those. I have a cough that, not to get too explicit, but it ain't dry. So I've got half a symptom.
I don't know if that was more or less explicit than anything else you could have said.
Use your imagination.
Oh, I am, and I'm that one made me use my imagination for sure.
Depending on how long this podcast goes, we may get a demonstration.
No, I know what you mean. I've had that kind of allergy cough as well, so I get that. I'm trying to hold on to cold weather. I'm wearing a hoodie, like a really thick hoodie. This is a hoodie that hasn't been able to fit me since high school, so I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah, lost 35 pounds so far. I got to do a weigh-in later tonight, so I should have a more accurate update, but I'm not. But yeah, we aside from the Rona, the reason this podcast is a little late is we had terrible thunderstorms and tornado watches and warnings coming across Mississippi. So I kind of told Steven, I was like, I'm just gonna let's push this back, because basically I've been told to watch the weather all day, because it's, we had a severe time around 8 and 9, and then it was like 3 and 4, and then there was another one around 8 and 9 p.m. So it was just a lot of bad weather.
So I'm glad you guys are okay, and that nothing happened in your neck of the woods. And I'm gonna say this, like, now that it's over, and you can't like hold it against me, but we just had a really relaxing Sunday afternoon with rain. Was basically what we got here.
I'm so glad that is what you experienced.
Look, everyone. I mean, you know how basically the entire state of Mississippi was like, and when the national news is talking about, oh, bad weather could hit Mississippi, our people go nuts.
Oh, yeah.
They go out and buy all the toilet paper again. Like, that's basically how it goes. And they act like, oh my gosh, we're all going to die. And I'm not making light of the weather, because there was some very severe weather, and there were deaths, very tragic.
There were some damages.
It was very tragic. But where we were, nothing happened, and there wasn't really any sign that anything would happen. But people were still just like, oh man, this is it. Whoever's playing Jumanji out there, first they got the Rona, and now they rolled 2 6s, so now tornado apocalypse, here we go. But we were fine here. Are you laughing, or are you just being okay? It's a laugh. Okay, good.
I have not yet heard anyone describe the situation we're in right now as someone having a really bad game at Jumanji. And man, does that just explain the last year and a half.
No kidding. I would like to think that I'm the first one that made that joke, but there's no way I'm the first one that made that joke.
That's the first time I've heard it, but I don't really follow Jumanji very much, but man, that is a funny thought. Someone's having a really bad game of Jumanji.
Who follows Jumanji? It's a fake game that's got an okay movie series.
Oh man!
But yeah, things were, and honestly, I needed a relaxing Sunday because I did not sleep but for 20 minutes on Saturday night for whatever reason. I just was restless, and Sunday was Easter. Happy Easter, everybody!
Happy Easter, everybody!
Which I work at a church, so even though we didn't get to have church, we didn't get to go to church.
Right.
We still did church, and that was a busy morning for me. So I was just glad to be able to come home and chill and not worry about having to go in the closet and deal with a puppy pooping everywhere until we wait for the wind to take us out.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. No, I'm glad we're all okay. And thank you guys for being patient and letting us postpone and push this out later. So thank you guys for watching today. We've got a very light news day. We're going to be talking about the PS5 controller, and then Steven's got some rumor news about Crysis. So we're going to talk about that. But first, or actually, you know what? Let's just start there, Steven. Talk to me about this Crysis, okay? What's happening?
Okay.
There's a tweet happening. What's going on?
All right, let me look at the tweet because I just sent it. Yeah, so Crysis, for those of you that don't know what Crysis is, which apparently Jake is one of them. You had never heard of Crysis before?
I'm sitting here. No, I'm just gonna say no. I feel
so
like
Crysis I can kind of understand, but like you said
2013 was the last one that came out. That was 3.
The most recent one, yeah. I think so. Well, Crysis I can kind of understand. Because it was mainly a big deal on Xbox 360, PS3 era, and it's known for on PC. Mm-hmm. But have you heard of CryEngine, like Crytek, the developer?
I don't think so. Is this one of the only things they've made? Like, what are some other things they've made?
I'd have to look some stuff up, but they're known for Crysis, and I think they did some stuff. Well, no, I don't think they did anything with Far Cry.
Oh, they did. Everybody's gone to Rapture. Okay.
CryEngine is a very well-known video game engine that I don't know what it's known for doing.
Oh,
but it was.
They did Kingdom Come, I think, too.
Yes, they did. That's right.
Okay, Kingdom Come Deliverance. I know that one.
Yeah. So basically, Crysis was the game.
Prey. Wait, Prey?
Prey?
I don't know. That's on a list
here.
Which
one? Which one?
The newest one, the one that came out in 2017.
That's really surprising, but kind of makes sense. Well, Crysis is a first-person shooter game that there we go. That I don't know when the first one came out, but it was on PC, and it was like known as the game that like if your computer could run it, your computer was a boss. Like in Crysis 2, you got an achievement for beating the first level that says that the achievement title was like it can run Crysis or something like that. So it's like a joke that everybody knew. So the whole premise of Crysis is that you are a super soldier that has this thing called the nanosuit. Mm-hmm. Imagine Iron Man if it was like an adaptive suit to where it basically wrapped around the body and looked like muscle tissue, but like robotic muscle tissue a little bit. Mm-hmm. And instead of like missiles and flying and everything, you just... It's like if Iron Man was the Predator.
Okay, yeah.
Basically. Mm-hmm. So you play as a soldier who has that suit, and you're fighting against alien invasion. And I don't really remember Crysis 1 as much, but Crysis 2 took place like in New York, because of course everything bad happens in New York. And
take a look at the Rona. That's a great example of why everything bad happens in New York.
Well, basically, Crysis is this really... It's not super well known, but it's been pretty well received, and I loved it. I loved the series back in the Xbox 360 days. Crysis 2 was one of my favorite FPS games around that time, and it's definitely going to get a forward compatible now, so look forward to that. But So we got a tweet from the Crisis Twitter, and I don't follow it because I don't really use Twitter. But I saw someone post it saying that Crisis tweeted, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" And they just tweeted in all caps, "receiving data," on April 13th. And this means one of two things, Jake, in my opinion. New Crisis game, which would be fantastic. We definitely need Crisis right now because we are in crisis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I usually hold like when I say something that is in question, like if I don't know if it's funny or not, I usually stop and listen for the slightest affirmation for like a or something to like know that you're laughing. I'm just like, all right, moving on from there. But a new Crisis game would be great. The thought of Crisis on next gen consoles or even like on PC, because 7 years it's been since the last Crisis game and it looked beautiful then. Mm-hmm. So like, oh my God, what could they do now? You know?
Right.
So that would be great. And this would be a little less awesome, but I would still be totally about it because it means that I have an excuse to do forward compatible sooner rather than later. But Crisis remasters.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if we got a Crisis trilogy remastered, I think that would be really cool. Because one, that means that it's almost certain that another Crisis game would be coming down the road. But two, you'd get recognition for a really awesome series that is at this point mostly forgotten. And it doesn't feel like it's been that long since we got one, but it's been a while.
I mean, 2013 is it's a while away.
Yeah. So I just thought that was cool. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to see what that could mean. Because honestly, I need more IPs to be excited about because there's not a lot right now for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I have not thought about Crisis a lot. And I'm talking about this as if like people at home are probably like, wow, Steven sounds like he didn't even think about what he was going to say here. That's because I found out about this like 30 minutes ago. So as of recording this, I'm just like, Crisis. Because I guess I'm in crisis, you know?
Aren't we all?
Fifth name, Crisis.
Aren't we all?
But yeah, we'll see.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, Who knows? By the time you're listening to this podcast, we may already know. But I hope we get good news out of this one way or the other. It's exciting that to make an announcement right now. You know what I mean? Because we need good news right now more than ever.
One of the positives for people like for, I guess you could say, game developers is that eyes are so glued to Twitter, Facebook, and just online right now to where everyone is just hungry for something to be excited about. And so them to do that is really good.
Yeah. I've seen a couple headlines of people saying like, this is the year for the indies. Just kind of saying, I was going to say, yeah, if you have an indie game right now that you've just been posting a little bit on Twitter here and there and not getting much feedback, like I guarantee you there's a tick in your game if you're posting information about it, because people are probably hungry for it. And if you can meet that and get it out in time and really get it out right now, I mean, people will jump to it because AAA games are getting delayed. Heck, I have not cared one lick about Final Fantasy VII, but the more I see about it, I'm like, I kind of want to try this out. And then we were talking to Brody about this in our group chat, me and Steven. Steven actually brought it up. He was like, man, the more I see about this game, I want to get it. And Brody was like, you might as well. Like, the next AAA game is June, you know? Like, we've got 2 months to just whatever. You know, this is the last game. And you know, for all we know, Ghost of Tsushima, that's the next one that I see on my list. But that's going to end up getting delayed too, you know? So with that in mind, I downloaded the demo to try out tonight, and if I like it, I'm probably gonna get it. But anyway,
yeah, I'm tempted. I still have it, but my thing is like I'm torn between it and Doom Eternal.
Right. You gotta get.
And everyone on the channel is probably just sitting there back there, just like, Steven, I swear, if you get Final Fantasy VII before you've given us your Doom Eternal gameplay, unsubscribe. So that's what's keeping me, is that like I'm not saying that you guys are holding me hostage, but you're not. But because I want to play Doom Eternal, but part of me is just like, I feel like I would get a lot of time out of Final Fantasy VII, and part of me, like, I've been looking for single player game experiences that I can do with Anna, that she can like watch and be engaged. Like, I've been thinking about getting back into Final Fantasy 15, playing that through again, because I am one of those people that, even though it was a very fragmented story, I loved the game.
Right.
And I thought its execution of like the heart of the story was really good. And so I've been like, I wonder if she would enjoy watching that game. So that's the one thing keeping me, because, you know, a story of, well, whatever Final Fantasy VII is about, I haven't played it, but it's got to be more engaging for a couple than some big chungus going through hell, ripping demons apart.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. But speaking of indies, and I know I'm like a fully automatic shotgun right now.
Oh, it's fine.
Just shooting everywhere.
Just pop them out.
So an indie game is coming out this week that I am personally very excited about, called Sentinels of Freedom.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which Sentinels of Freedom is a video game adaptation of the Sentinels of the Multiverse IP by Greater Than Games. You guys have seen us play Sentinels of the Multiverse here. I talk about it all the time. It's a co-op card game that is basically like its own superhero lore, where they do like fictional comic books and stuff like that. They don't actually make the comic books. They just make a podcast talking about the comic books that don't exist. It's pretty good. But they're doing a game, and it is a turn-based tactical XCOM style game with superheroes. It is being described by early reviewers as XCOM with superheroes, which is like, if you go way back to our whatever number it was, I think it was 500 subscriber special, whatever. And Kaylin asked the question, like, if you could make a game, like any game, what would it be? I pretty much, I think, said, take XCOM, like what it is, where you've got, you know, the base managing and the overworld strategy elements and customizing characters, being able to rename and everything, and make it superheroes. That's my dream game. So
make it
we're
My
one step
Hero
closer.
Academia. That would be really good.
I mean, you could. If you just give me the means, I can make UA. I can make Class 1A in my XCOM superhero squad. Just give me the means, you know? And so we're one step closer to having a game like that, and it's with an IP that I already love. Yeah. So I'm super excited. And that comes out, I believe, Thursday. It was a weird day to launch it, but that's coming out. And we are starting forward compatible this week, which we'll get to that at the... well, I guess we should do that after this.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have talked about that earlier, but anyway.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So we will probably be taking a break from Forward Compatible on Thursday so that I can start my game on Sentinels of Freedom. But I do need, and Jake, this is a question I wanted to pose you. You get to make a hero in Sentinels of Freedom. And the hero customizer is pretty thorough, except for the fact that if you're a male, you basically have to look like John Cena, like that kind of body type.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I hate, because I don't want my guy to look like a wrestler personally. Right. So what should the live stream superhero be? Like, what should he be called? What should he do? Like, I'm posing this question. If you need time, chat. You're also included in this. I would love to hear your answers. I really need a name, though. Like, that's the name I'm struggling with. Because none of the Sentinels characters have, like, man or woman. Like, Chortle Man, the low-hanging fruit of the possibilities, that wouldn't fit.
Well, my brain immediately went to Big Chungus. So.
Big Chortgus.
Big Chortgus.
Or just Big Chortle.
Big.
Let us know your superhero suggestions in the comments.
Please. Anything will be better. But yeah, okay. So sorry, I should have done this at housekeeping at the top of the show, but we kind of got distracted and just dove right in. So to intermediate between our two news stories, some housekeeping. This week is a forward compatible week. You guys voted all last week on what the new game would be. that Steven would do a full playthrough and review of. That has been decided. We will talk about that in the preview that will follow this podcast. Is that how we normally do it? Do we normally announce it here? I forget.
We normally announce it here so that we can be like,
okay,
see you in a bit, you know.
Well, so, Steven, do you want to tell the good people at home what they're going to be watching in this preview afterwards?
I will tell the good people at home to what we're playing, but the bad people, stop watching. This isn't for you.
Stop asking for Catherine.
Asking for Catherine full body. Stop it. That's what makes you bad people.
That is.
Okay. Stop asking for it, and I'll tell you what the game is.
All right, what are you playing this week, Steven?
This month's forward-compatible game, you guys were voting between... it was basically either Bioshock or Jedi Knight 3 Jedi Academy, because no one knows what the Bureau XCOM Declassified is. Don't worry, you will soon. It will have its day, I promise. But you were basically voting between those two. And the winner, by one vote, is Bioshock.
Woohoo!
So we will be doing Bioshock, the original, going back to Rapture, for this month. And gotta say, I don't know why you guys voted for such a gloomy game.
We need a little gloom and doom in this world of gloom and doom.
I don't think any of that's right.
Well, anyway,
but yeah,
we'll be talking about that, doing a preview, kind of getting Steven's base level thoughts on the game, kind of what he remembers about it, and that sort of thing. So we'll be doing that in a preview after this. It'll be a separate live stream event, but be sure to tune in for that as well. So.
Yep.
Moving on in news, let's talk about the new PS5 controller, the DualSense. This was announced early last week. Kind of came out of nowhere, if you ask me. It was just a PlayStation blog announcement. I think I saw it first in a tweet, just saying, "Hey, here, we're finally." Basically, the tweet or in the blog. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We're just going to talk about kind of the features that the controller has and our thoughts on it, but. Basically, they had finished the development and were shipping them to developers so that they can start working the controller into their game and using the functionality of the controller and making it the best for the games and whatnot. So they wanted to share it with the community, yada yada yada. I feel like this is weird. Well, top level, we might come back to this, but I still don't understand what the PS5 is doing and what Sony is doing about advertising, because we still don't even know what the box looks like. We still don't even know anything. But we know about the controller, so just it's been a weird backwards cycle. But anyway, so the first things first, we see the DualSense. It is a lot. It looks a lot bigger than previous generations have been. It seems like.
Do we have any kind of pictures of it that show like size comparison to things so we could see how much bigger it is to a PS4 controller?
No. I can flip to something. I've got all my like feature points pulled up right here, but I mean it's a little bit bigger than the DualShock 4.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be that much.
It just looks like it. It looks like it just used the negative space, like on a PlayStation controller, the one that made it look like slimmer, and it just rounded it out. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot more of like an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Or even the Pro controller from Nintendo. It kind of has that vibe going, which I don't dislike. I would actually say the Pro controller is one of my favorite controllers. So I'm not altogether upset about this, but what upsets me is its color. All right, it is a white with black highlights controller. The buttons are clear with like white inside, so they almost look flush. In fact, that was one of Brody's first comments. He was like, "Why are the buttons flush? Why are they not? Yeah, why are they flat?" So that was an immediate concern. They are not flat. They are just clear. They look flat. They do, in fact, pop up. But just I'm still not sure how I feel about the look, but I think it's going to feel great. once you get into it. But we can discuss that a little bit here in a second. I want to go through the features. So the first feature, and this is a weird one, there is now a built-in mic to the DualSense. This will allow players to quickly jump into chats without needing a headset.
Is there a mute button on the mic? Does it come in default mute? Because I'm like that.
I'm pretty sure there's a kill switch like right on the controller that you can mute it on and off. But
let me just say this. This is a time when I'm glad that I don't play Grand Theft Auto. Because I don't know if you saw back when Grand Theft Auto, was it 5 came out? There was a guy who didn't realize his mic was on, and he went to the strip club.
Oh, God.
And he was like dirty talking this video game stripper while he was throwing money at. We're going to get more of that, I feel like, in all games.
Yeah.
Now that everyone's going to have a mic whether they like it or not. You know?
Yeah, I feel like this is an interesting addition, and we're going to talk about more features that I think will kind of point to this, but I definitely think they are a lot more conscious of people that are live streaming, people are creating things with gaming content, and Sony is trying to make that easier and better directly through their system, which is great, and I applaud that. I just think this is a weird choice because... And it's funny because they even mention, it's great for quickly jumping into chats, but if you're going to have a longer play session, you may want to get a headset. And so it's like, I don't know about you. I've just never come into a situation where I was like, man, I don't want to plug up my headset. I just want to quickly say something to these people. And I've heard other podcasters say things like that. So I understand that somebody wanted this. It's the same people that wanted Catherine full body, but I don't know why you would need this, because if I was going to have a chat, I'd just pull up my headphones. I normally have my headphones on anyway.
Yeah. So here's the thing about that. Also, two things. One, did you just say Captain Full Body?
I said Catherine.
And two, when I was looking up the DualSense controller, my phone opened up on our talk about Crisis, and your response to my sending of the picture was hilarious. I just wanted to share. It was, I've seen a lot of people freaking out about this. Who is Crisis? And that's when I was like, what? So Jake thought Crisis was a person.
Well, I really just meant who is the Twitter account Crisis? Is this,
Yeah, I just thought that was funny because I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, he really has never heard of Crisis. Wow. So about the whole microphone in the controller thing, it's going to be a good thing ultimately, I think, because I know you don't play like any PvP shooters, and this is coming from the guy who really also doesn't play any PvP shooters, but I do play Rainbow Six Siege on pretty frequent occasion. Right. I'm in the Dark Zone pretty frequently in the Division. So games where team coordination is very important, and there are a ton of people, the more casual gamers, that don't have a mic. They just, for whatever reason, refuse to get one. And so now no one has an excuse. So it's going to ultimately, well, depending on what game you play, it's going to help in the way where games like Siege, where that coordination is required, now that guy that gets your team killed has no reason to not attempt to defend himself. But at the same time, that 12-year-old who banged your mom last night on Call of Duty is going to be able to to tell you about it a lot more, because he has a mic in his controller.
He's got a mic in his controller. Yeah, it will definitely lead to some interesting videos on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, but I think it's a good thing. It could be a good change.
Yeah, definitely don't think it's a bad thing, but it just like I said, a weird choice. But hey, whatever. Next feature I've got here is the haptic feedback. So they've added, basically, we've always had like an HD rumble in Dualshock controllers, but now they're going towards haptic feedback, which is basically just an advanced rumble. It adds a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud, is what they say. But I think
that's cool.
Yeah. So it's Steven, you've got a Switch. So you have a Joy-Con, and the Joy-Con takes advantage of haptic feedback, and I forget what they called it in their Nintendo terms, but Did you ever play 1-2 Switch?
A couple times,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, you'll probably remember from the Switch like announcement conference when they first were talking about the features of when they talked about this HG Rumble or haptic feedback, whatever. They had somebody up there and they were like, this will give you great sensations and help you kind of feel things like right now this is simulating ice cubes in a glass, and I can just by moving the controller I can feel how many ice cubes are in here. And we all watched that and we're like, what the hell? Like, what is he talking about? But having played 1-2 Switch and playing that game where you have to guess how many ice cubes are in there, it's crazy how
it is. It's
how realistic that sensation is and how you really can tell.
And what's so crazy about that, because I did do that. It was the one with the marbles in the box.
Yes, there's that one.
And that I was like, wow, that's really advanced. That's really good technology. But now, and I don't know if it's because of the Joy-Cons I'm using, because I've been using pre-owned Joy-Cons that I got just to not wear out my good ones. The vibration on the Joy-Cons for certain games, like I think Children of Morta was one, annoyed the crap out of me to where I had to turn it off. Just because like it was just the noise was weird. And so I often forget that the Switch has like possibly the most advanced like
Rumble
version
system,
of Rumble system is a good way to put it. Rumble system in gaming right now. And so like you said that the Switch has been making good use of it, but like have they beyond launch? Because I don't really hear about it anymore.
I don't know that many games have taken advantage of it, but that's just a good.
But it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really just brought that into it of saying like I've seen what it can do with like the ice cube thing, and I remember thinking it was crazy and why does that matter? But then playing that game, it's like holy crap, this is crazy how this feels. So now PlayStation's adding that, and so I think that's
it could be
awesome
really
thing.
cool, and like this. I think it would be neat if you had that kind of just really advanced directional rumble and all that kind of stuff for like shooters.
Yeah.
If you get shot from the right, you feel it on that spot on the controller.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's sort of what we can expect from this. It's basically just going to take it to bring more immersion to you.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Moving on, we've got adaptive triggers. So basically the L2 and the R2 button use what they're calling adaptive triggers, so players can, quote, truly feel the tension of your actions, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. And all I can say is whoever wrote this PR knew who their audience was, me, and they knew to put in that bow and arrow reference so that I would be interested.
What was the sentence? We'll know the weight of their actions?
Well, truly, okay, quote, truly feel the tension of your actions.
That makes it sound like we're going to do something terrible.
We are, Steven. We are. No, what this is going to do is like when you, instead of just a button that just click, click, clickety, clack, clack, when I go to pull a bow, I'm going to feel resistance from the button.
Okay.
So when I'm Ellie and I'm going to take down whoever, I'm not just going to click and hold down the R2 button. I'm going to have to hold down the R2 button because it's going to be resisting me, and I'm going to really be pulling back something. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Because I honestly, with the PS4 controller, especially lately, I felt like the trigger
is loose,
and that when I use a LMG in Division 2 with 240 shots in the mag, and I hold it down all the time because it just auto reloads itself, I sometimes feel like I'm literally going to rip off the R2 trigger. So I hope we're going to have less of that and more of, more secure.
I'm going
button
to
pressing.
Interject here. I don't know if this is later on my list, but it's a USB-C charging port. So
the newer...
It's the newer USB. It's what your Pro controller uses. It's what your Switch uses. I'm very excited about this. I don't like micro USB, which is what the Dualshock has. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
The only reason I liked micro USB is because it was, at the time, for a good few years, it was just like a universal language
everywhere.
for technology. Because like Android used it,
Yep.
pretty much every device that wasn't Apple used it. So that was nice. But I guess we're headed towards USB-C
But now it's USB-C. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything's using USB-C now.
Because my phone uses USB-C now. So I guess it's time to move on to the next cable.
Well, and the Macs, like new Mac laptops, all they have is USB-C ports.
Wow.
Yeah.
Apple's doing something that everyone else is doing?
I know, it's crazy.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, like my laptop that I travel around with and bring when we do the live streams and stuff, that's all USB-C ports that I have to plug a USB-C dongle to get anything else. So crazy. But good to see. Good thing they're moving towards. And then this is a big one. They have changed the DualShock 4's share button. It has been replaced with a create button, which will help players create epic gameplay content to share with the world. Now, this is really interesting to me. So, like, they mentioned here, like, don't worry, you're still going to be able to live stream, you're still going to be able to broadcast, whatever, from this button. We've changed the name, and we're going to change some features about it. So, I, in kind of reading about this and watching and listening to other people talk about this, I did not know this, but if you clicked the share button, you could go into edit. You could edit the gameplay that you just. I had no idea that was a feature.
That's how I made the Far Cry video with the guy getting hit by the truck. The Rainbow Six video of me getting the 1v5 clutch. I use it all the time.
I knew you could share clips like that, but I had no idea you could go in and like edit. And there's apparently I still haven't like looked into like, oh, what all can you do? But there was like a creator studio or something that you could do different stuff. So
it was fairly minimal, but I mean, you could trim, and that's all I really cared about.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I figured. But so a lot of people are hoping that this will give you more features in that studio. And then instead of having to go through like 4 or 5 buttons to get to that studio, this will take you just straight there. Do you want to live stream this? Do you want to share this? Do you want to edit this? What do you want to do? Instead of having to kind of dive through a couple menus. So cool. Again, I think this points to they are aware that gaming is now a live streaming, YouTube gaming. There's all sorts of people are not only playing games, but they're sharing the games that they're playing. And so Sony is trying to be an easy source to get that out to wherever you're playing and doing.
Right.
We've talked about the ergonomics, and they've kind of changed everything. It's supposed to be very comfortable. They talked about how it's very comfortable and feels good in the hand. Again, this is something we're just going to have to wait to see and go from there. So that's kind of it. But Stephen, I saw Brody liked the photo that I was reading all this information from, so that's why I said Brody. But Stephen, what do you think?
All these years later, and he still gets me confused for Brody. I have sat across from you for how many episodes of Chortle Cast? Tragic. So ask your question again. Sorry, I stopped listening when I was trying to think of a funny way to overreact to that incident.
I appreciate it.
What was the question?
So basically, what are your thoughts overall on the controller? Are you excited? Do you hate it? What are your overall thoughts?
I like it. I honestly do. I think that ultimately my decision of do I like it or do I not like it is going to depend on how it feels in my hand.
Yep.
That's the most important thing. I don't. And maybe it's because I've been playing so much PlayStation, but like whenever I pick up my Xbox controller, like when I used it for Force Unleashed, when I did forward compatible for that,
right.
I was just like, this feels awful.
Yeah.
This controller is so large and just so clunky. But again, maybe that's because I was using the PlayStation controller, but sometimes I feel like the PlayStation controller is too small.
Yeah.
So if they can just split that difference, I think it'll be a great controller.
Well, see, and I've got my... I don't know, it's not an Elite controller, but it's like a custom controller that I've had for a long time for my PlayStation. And it, based on the photos I'm seeing, it looks a lot more like what my controller looks like. As far as like the ergonomics, maybe not quite. There's a pretty big dip where the triggers go that I don't think there's going to be in the other one. So I feel like it's going to be a pretty easy transition for me personally. All in all, I'm very excited about the features and the things that they've added to the controller. I hate the color scheme. I really just don't like the white.
You'll get options.
See,
surely.
That's the thing, though. That's what I'm worried about, because I am the type of person who I'm going to pre-order the PS5 when they announce it. I'm going to pre-order, like I will pre-order it immediately. Whatever version they launch will be the version I have until the PS6. And I understand not everyone is like that. Some people will wait. Some people will do whatever. So I'm going to get whatever this system is, and I pray to God that it's not white, because I don't want a white system. But if that's the only option we have at launch, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm getting a white PS5. I don't want it. I don't want to wait for a special edition or anything. And
Jake, I'm going to be honest with you. You better get ready for a white PS5.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at this point, I think it's going to be very similar in design of a white, blue highlight, lighting, and then black highlights for everything. But man, I hope the one hope that I have is that they will launch a white and then a dark version. That is the only hope that I have, and then it's going to be a fight to pre-order the dark one before everyone else.
Maybe they'll do it like Pokemon, where you've got PlayStation Black and PlayStation White, and PlayStation Black gets like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us, and then PlayStation White has like Little Big Planet, and
I was thinking Detroit Become Human. That's what a lot of people have said. Like, this looks like something made for Detroit Become Human. Yeah, like, this could be a Detroit Become Human special edition
it's the
controller.
exact color scheme. Maybe this is the first version of Kara.
I mean, yeah. Like, really. And that's something else a lot of people have been pointing out about the mic in the controller. Mm-hmm. Is this going to have some sort of, like, AI
always
companion?
On function?
Yeah, that is going to add in. Like, are we going to have a Kara? How cool would that be? That'd be crazy in the PS5. But anyway, I don't know. My biggest complaint right now is that I hope there is an alternative color scheme. Obviously, there will be other controllers that I can get, and that's going to be fine. But I just really, really don't want... Because whatever the PlayStation is, that's the color I'm going to end up with. And then whatever controller comes with that, which I would assume would be the same color, is at least one of the controllers I'm going to be stuck with forever until it dies. So I can always buy another controller, but I'm not going to buy another system just to get a new color scheme. So anyway, but yeah, the features, everything else, very excited.
Looks good.
Now we just need to see the box and see some games and get a release date. That's all I'm waiting for. Yep. Steven, let's do a little bit of catch up. I'll start because I don't have a lot to talk about. This is where we catch up on games and movies and shows we've been watching. I have so I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I'm just kind of at a point. Bunny Day is finally effing over. I was so over Bunny Day. Steven, I don't know if you know about Bunny Day, but Bunny Day
I've heard
was an event that was being hosted to celebrate Easter. And the event was basically there were special crafting recipes for Easter-themed items that you had to find the recipes, and then scattered throughout the world, there were eggs. And there were 6 different types of eggs. There were sky eggs, water eggs, earth eggs, leaf eggs, stone eggs, and then wood eggs. And so basically anytime you tried to collect crafting materials, you got eggs, which is fine unless you're trying to do something. And then it's not fine. And you're tasked with crafting all of the items with the promise that on Bunny Day, you'll get a special reward. On day 1 of this event, I found all of the crafting DIY recipes, and I found enough eggs to build all of it. So I was done with what I had to do on day 1. Yet I had to continue for 10 or 11 more days finding eggs everywhere. Today I played, and it was not Bunny Day. Bunny Day had ended, and it was such a relief to not find eggs every 5 minutes, like a huge relief. So I hope Nintendo takes what they have done with this event and change it for the next event, because it was not fun having the whole economy of the game just off kilter. We had a great live stream of Animal Crossing this past weekend. A buddy of ours, I forget his username, but his name was Cloudy in Animal Crossing. He brought me to his island. They were selling turnips for $2.06, so we got some good turnip prices this week. I bought more turnips, so hopefully we'll have another good week. But then other than that, I haven't really been playing much. I mentioned I've downloaded the Final Fantasy VII demo. I'm going to try that out if I like it, which I probably will, and probably will end up getting the game either way. But I'm going to try that next week. But other than that, I've been watching My Hero Academia. The folks at Funimation, and I assume whatever team runs the dub for My Hero Academia, they pulled through, and they got episode 84 of the series up this past Sunday. So I finally got to watch one more episode of My Hero Academia, and it was great. But what I was really getting to was I've been talking about it probably a couple times of just like, oh, the dub's delayed, and then when coronavirus happened, it was delayed indefinitely. The dub was, and then the series ended, the season. The season ended.
Not cool.
Not cool, man. I'm sorry. That scared myself. The season ended. And so then it was like, dang it. Now I'm seeing all these posts on Twitter and all this stuff that I've just got to like skim past. So I'm really excited that they pulled through and did that. But all that to say, because I had been waiting for so long and I was so hungry for My Hero Academia content, I decided, you know what I should do? I should just go back. I should start this season over and just rewatch this season, because there's several, like, normally there's like 1 or 2 story arcs in the show. I feel like there's at least 4 in this season. So I was like, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to watch like a bunch of, I'm just going to rewatch. So I rewatched everything this week. Now I'm right back where I was. So, yeah. So I really hope they will at least get, the next episode out in a week's time. I would love it if they could get it out sooner than that, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm also really hoping the dub for Demon Slayer will come out soon, because I'm probably going to watch that as well. Steven, have you seen Demon Slayer?
Nope. I have not seen anything that makes me think I would enjoy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you would.
I've heard people say you need to watch Demon Slayer. I have not heard why or.
I think you would really like the main character. He's very much like Deku in a lot of ways. Very motivated and very dedicated, and he thinks kind of like Deku does, I think. And then the characters, especially once you really get into it, are really, really great. So I would recommend it. If you want to wait for the dub or something, that might be a good time to jump in. But I think you should at least give it a shot or two. But anyway, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Like I said, I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII this week and give that a shot so I can report back in that later. But Steven, what have you been doing? What have you been playing, watching?
Division 2, Galaxy of Pen and Paper.
How is
it's
it?
Been really fun. Love it. It's great. That's basically it. That's my life.
And just trying to stay away from the Rona.
Yep. This week, Forged Battle is going to start. Going to be playing Sentinels of Freedom, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's basically it. Not a lot of change on my end.
Good deal. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortlecast. We do hope that you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment. We'd appreciate that. If you're watching on Facebook, you're already at Chortle Games on Facebook, which sounds weird to say, but you can like the page, follow it, like this video, share it with your friends, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And if you're a person who says, man, I wish you could watch this on Twitch, we live stream on Twitch most of the time, so you can watch us there. Just go to Twitch we're Chortle_games on Twitch is what we are. So go there, follow us there, because if you want to watch the podcast there, We can eventually put it up there, but we've got to get more followers. So even if you don't like Twitch, but you have a Twitch account, go follow us there so we can get that number up. That would be great. We'd appreciate it. And if you don't have a Twitch account and you don't like Twitch, go make a Twitch account and go follow us. And then, that it just helps us out. It really does. And then if you're an audio listener, of course, you can leave a review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate that as well. If you want to hang out with us more after the podcast, you can join our Discord. You can get to that in the description of this podcast or audio, whatever you're listening to, watching. You can get there. Or the easiest way I always tell folks is to go to chortlegames.com. On our banner, you'll see an icon for Discord. Click that. That'll get you there. So anyway, you can join us there. We post memes. We talk our schedule. You get to vote on things like forward compatible, all that good stuff. What we're live streaming on certain days. So it's a lot of fun. We appreciate the community there. Anyway, that's the podcast is not the only thing we do. Typically, the podcast airs every Monday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook. So you can watch it there. And Apple Podcasts if you want to listen to it on your daily commute or however you want to listen to it there. But it's not the only thing we do here on the channel. We stream typically Tuesday or Thursday and then Friday and Saturday. This week, like we said, it's a forward compatible week. Steven is going to be playing Bioshock. I say this week, this whole month is a Bioshock month. So all month long, Steven's going to be playing that. So anytime Steven is solo, he is probably going to be playing that, with the exception of Thursday, because we got to see that Sentinels of the Freedom game. We got to see some of that. But Steven is going to be trying to stream every Tuesday-ish. So be looking out for that for Bioshock specifically. But this week,
yeah, it's not gonna be as we're changing the way we do forward compatible to where it's more spaced out, so that we have more time to write script, edit, rewatch footage and stuff like that. So it's not gonna be a quickly burning candle like it has been in the past, but it will happen at least once a week. Yep. Probably almost definitely more than once a week.
Yeah. Probably,
we do it.
Probably closer to 2 times. But anyway, so you can look forward to a stream this week on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. May even get 2 streams Thursday, depending on how the day goes. So like we've said, subscribe, follow, join the Discord. We'll keep you updated. You can also follow us on Twitter if you're a big Twitter person. We're at Chortle Games on Twitter. So we typically try to post when we go live there, but typically the Discord is a lot more active of getting that post of when we're going live. So, but yeah, we're going to be playing all sorts of fun stuff. So be sure to tune in for that. We've got to do a preview of Steven's thoughts on Bioshock. So we're going to go, but stay tuned because that is going to come up right after this podcast. If you're watching this not live, I guess you'll just have to go find it. But anyway, Steven, thanks for joining. Thank you, folks, for watching.
Of course.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.